Hey guys, in this month's top 5, I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 favorite books so far this year in 2020. So, it's that point in the year. I always do a top 5 here in July where I kind of look through the books I've read so far in this first half of the year and I look and say, what have I enjoyed so far this year? So, yeah, I have read 5 books this year so far that I've really enjoyed, so yeah, what are they? At number 5, I have this new trilogy in the Shadowhunter universe by Cassandra Clare, and this comes from the Last Hours series, this first book being called Chain of Gold. And believe it or not, you guys, this entire top 5, this is the only 2020 book on this list. All the other books are books released, years prior. So this is the only 2020 book, weirdly enough. I don't know what that says. I've read a lot of 2020 books so far, and there's not been anything that's really grabbed me other than this book. But yeah, this is the start of a new trilogy by Cassandra Clare in her Shadowhunter universe, as I mentioned. And this was just so good, you guys. This trilogy is actually a spin-off of the Infernal Devices trilogy, and that trilogy took place in like the late 1800s, and this book is kind of straddling kind of into the 1800s into the 1900s or whatever, following the children of the characters from the Infernal Devices. So I was really highly anticipating this book. It did not let me down. I was not disappointed. It was kind of everything I was hoping it would be. I loved the characters. I loved returning to the historical fiction setting that Cassandra Clare has created. And it does. This is just such a really fun book. It's action-packed. There's a lot going on. Unfortunately, like I said, this is the start of a new trilogy based off of like another series. There's so many books in this whole world. There are so many books. Unfortunately, I'm not going to sit here and go into much depth about this book because you're either this far into the series or you're not. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I definitely can't wait for the second book, which hopefully will be released sometime soon. At number 4, Fallen Skies by Philippa Gregory. I feel like I've not read a Philippa Gregory book in like forever, so I was really thrilled that I finally got around to this book, and that it made my top 5 so far for this year. This is one of Philippa Gregory's older published book, published back in like I think the early 90s, something like that. And oh my goodness, you guys, this was good. Initially I kind of had feelings about it that I was like, I don't know how I feel about this book. But once I got to like the midpoint, and then once I finally got to the end, my mind was just blown, and I absolutely loved this book. This is going to be the type of book that people either love or hate. It kind of just depends on you as a fan of Philippa Gregory, if you love her or if you hate her, how you like her writing style. But yeah, this book takes place post World War I, and we follow a war veteran named Stephen Winters, and we also follow a young girl named Lily Valance, who's a singer, a stage singer. And this is essentially about their meeting and their marriage, and things just go downhill. This book can be very unpleasant on occasion. The characters of Stephen and Lily are not very likable, but you do weirdly have moments of sympathy for them. You definitely feel more sympathy for Lily, because she's in this very abusive marriage, it turns out to be. And really, what I loved about this book, what was really kind of speaking to me, because I even mentioned this like in my book review for it. This book is kind of de-romanticizing war and war heroes, and kind of showing the harsh reality of war and the people who come back from war. because the character of Stephen, he went through World War One. He comes back a very different man, and he's terrible and kind of despicable, but at the same time, he has PTSD, and people because he's wealthy as well. He's wealthy, and his wealthy group look at that as something really odd and embarrassing, that he shouldn't have PTSD. So, yeah, this book is de-romanticizing war and showcasing war, that war's not pretty, the aftermath of war is not pretty, and kind of this whole thing too, you know, and a lot of times when you read, whether that's World War One fiction or World War Two fiction, a lot of times you'll have the female character who feels it her job and obligation to redeem and make the man better after he's come back from war. And like, Lily is the total opposite of that in this, and that's kind of part of this whole theme that Philippa Gregory is kind of going with. Lily don't have time for her husband. She doesn't care about his problems, and I mean, she kind of sees his behavior as odd and embarrassing as well, which it makes her very unlikable, you know. But like I said, they're part of this abusive relationship and marriage, so it's a very strange book. You guys, it's very strange. You have these moments that you sympathize, but you have these moments that it's like, oh my god, these people are despicable, how they treat each other, because it's both of them, you know, it's both of them. But yeah, I love this book and what Philippa Gregory was doing with it, and what she was saying about the aftermath of war and whatnot. I definitely recommend it if you like Philippa Gregory. At number 3, I have a book 6 in the Outlanders series, and this is A Breath of Snow and Ashes by Diana Gabaldon. Oh my goodness, this series, sometimes I have my ups and downs with this series, but for the most part I still enjoy it, you know. And this book was definitely one of the better books in the series, I think. There's definitely a lot going on, there's a lot being wrapped up and kind of set up for the future books coming out. And I'm just so glad I finally got around to this book. I've been trying to read an Outlander book a year, you know, prior to like every season starting. And yeah, like I said, this is book 6 in this very dense, complicated series, and I'm not going to sit here and go into too many details about it, because you've either read this or you haven't. Because yeah, I don't want to sit and give spoilers away, obviously. But yeah, if you don't know what the Outlander series in general is about, it's about a woman who lives in the 1940s, and her and her husband take a honeymoon to Scotland, and she finds herself kind of going towards these stones, these standing stones, and she gets sucked through these standing stones, and she ends up going back into like the 1700s in Scotland, where she meets a hot Scottish guy named Jamie, and there's all sorts of things that happen. So yeah, this is just a time travel series, let's put it that way. This is a historical fiction time travel series. That's all you need to know. And yeah, I love this latest book, just full of emotion and intensity and drama, so much craziness, and it definitely left me hanging, and it definitely left me wanting to devour the next book, because I'm very curious where it's going, because yeah, the next book should be heading into the American Revolutionary War. So yeah, this book had just a great cliffhanger, you know, as we're kind of heading in that direction of the American Revolutionary War. So yes, love this. At number 2, I finally, you guys, finally got around to Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is one of those classics that if you're a literature major, an English major, whatever, this is like one of those books that you need to read and form an opinion of. So I have finally gotten around to Rebecca, and I freaking love this book. I see what all the hype is about, why people go on about this book. I'm part of the Rebecca fan club now. If you don't happen to know what Rebecca is about, because sometimes I feel like I'm the last person on earth who's read this book. If you don't know what Rebecca is about, this follows a very young woman who marries this older gentleman, and she goes to live at his ancestral home. But she's actually wife number 2. The first wife was named Rebecca. That's what this title is. It's the first wife. And we know early on that Rebecca has died tragically. So this book is essentially just about the new wife, who does not even have a name, you guys. It's just about the new wife navigating this new marriage and navigating just the complexities of what has gone on before she married her husband, essentially. Who was Rebecca? What was Rebecca about? Why is everyone just so obsessed and in love with Rebecca? And yet the narrator feels like she just can't compete, and she feels like a nobody. And this book just has such a great gothic atmosphere, and there's this underlying feel of tension and suspense that you're not quite sure why you feel that way, but you feel it. You feel this suspense and tension. And it kind of just boils and boils until you kind of get some answers revealed. And it's just such a fantastic novel. I see what the hype is about this novel. I really, really loved it. I really like the characters. I really fell in love with the story, because somehow I have never been spoiled about this book. I have never been spoiled about this book, so I was anxious to find out what was going to happen, and I did. I had no idea what the twists and turns would be, so I love this book. So good. And my number 1 favorite book that I've read so far in the year of 2020 is this beast of a book, and this is Walking Dead Compendium number 4 by Robert Kirkman. This is the final book in the Walking Dead series. I am just so glad I am finally done with this series. Just what an insane ride and journey from start to finish. What fantastic characters, what fantastic storytelling, and what an emotional ending, you guys. I definitely cried a couple different times in this book, and just the direction it went, it went to some crazy, insane places. Yeah, if you don't know what The Walking Dead is about, zombies? Does that help? Yeah, this is about people living in a zombie apocalypse, essentially. And yeah, we finally get to the conclusion we've all been waiting for, because I just kind of assumed this series would never end. Because I started the series and I was like, where is this series going to go? Is it ever going to end? And it did. It finally ended. It has a very satisfactory conclusion. I think if you're a diehard fan of these comics, I think you're going to feel satisfied and very emotional about it. So I am. I'm so glad I finally got around to the final Walking Dead. It was well worth it. I was not disappointed. And come on, TV series. Come on, TV series. I'm very curious how you're going to adapt some of this stuff, because I feel like you can't, because you've killed too many people on the TV series. But yeah, so good, you guys. So that is it for my top 5 favorite books that I've read so far in the year of 2020. In the comments below, what books have you guys read in 2020 so far that you've enjoyed? Please share with me down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.